For number 5, and for all of these that we were doing, what you needed to do first was factor out the GCF. And that's always going to be your first step in factoring. Look for a GCF. Is there anything I can factor out from all of these terms? And in number 5, you're going to see that there is something. There's a 2. And since my leading coefficient on k squared is a negative, I'm going to factor out the negative with it. So I'm going to factor out negative 2, leaving me with k squared minus 10k plus 25. Maddie? Because you want your leading coefficient to be a positive. You want the coefficient on the squared value to be positive because it makes factoring easier.
So then the rest of the signs change?
Yes, if you're factoring out a negative, then the rest of the signs change too. Yep. So now once you do that, you want to look at what's inside your parentheses and you want to think, can I factor that anymore? And the answer is yes, you can, because it has 3 terms. Look at those 3 terms. Look at the squared term. K squared. Well, the leading coefficient there, the number in front of k squared, is just 1. So we just set this up with the regular simple factoring. 2 sets of parentheses, 2 binomials. Last term is positive, so signs are the same, and the middle term's negative, so they're both negative, right. What factors of 25 give you 5? I'm sorry, factors of 25 that give you 10, 5 and 5. Now you can leave it like that, or on the answer key, how I had it written was k minus 5 quantity squared. Either one of those is correct, but you need to make sure you also have your GCF that you factored out in front of it. So just kind of take that negative 2 along for the ride. And either one of these answers would be correct. All right, so factor out the GCF and then factor again. That's why we call it factoring completely, because if you only do one part of the factoring, it's not complete. You need to factor twice. If we look at number 8, what GCF do we have in number 8? Lilia? Right. And so you're going to factor out your 5, leaving you with 3x squared plus 34x plus 80. So that's your first step, but we need to factor completely. That means now that I factored out the GCF, look inside the parentheses. Can I factor that? Yes, you can. Look at the x squared coefficient. It's a 3. What method do we use when the leading coefficient, the number in front of x squared, is not 1? Corey? Right. So I'm going to do 3 times 80. And I get 240. Now I need factors of 240 to give me 34, the middle term. It's a big number, but they're the simple ones. 10 and 24, right? But what sign should I use? Are they both positive, both negative, or different? Rachel? Very good. Last term positive means signs are the same. Middle term positive means they're both positive. So now we have 3x squared plus 24x plus 10x plus 80. Remember, you rewrite the 34 as 24 and 10. You're rewriting that middle b term, 34x, as 24x and 10x. And then for the garbage method, you group the first two, look for their GCF. It's 3x. Factor out 3x, you have x plus 8. Bring down the middle sign. Group the last two. GCF would be 10. And you have x plus 8. So when you are done with the garbage method, you're rewriting what's in your parentheses, the x plus 8, and then whatever's right on the outside, 3x plus 10. And one more thing to finish this problem. What is it? Kyra? Yeah, bring down that GCF from the very beginning. Now let's try number 9. Look for a GCF in number 9. Kayla? Very good. So you take out 5b, we have 7b squared plus 20b minus 32. So that's the first part. Factor out the GCF. But now we need to factor completely. So we need to look at what is inside the parentheses and decide if we can factor that. Most of the time you can. In this case, we can. So since I know I can factor it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the b squared term and look at the number in front of it. It is 7. Just like number 8, since I have a number in front of my squared term, I need to do the garbage method. Seven times 32, 224. So I need factors of 224 to give me 20. Tell me this. Are the signs of the factors going to be the same or different? Kyra. Right, because this last term was negative. Does anybody have the factors of 224 that give you 20? I know, it's a big number. And it's kind of like your Monday. It's 28 and 8. Now we need to rewrite 7b squared. Instead of 20b, I'm rewriting that middle term. I'm going to rewrite it as plus 28b minus 8b, and then minus 32 to finish it up. Group the first two. GCF is 7b. Leaving you with b plus 4. Bring down the middle term, middle sign. It's a negative. GCF of the second two, 8. B plus 4. So then we have B plus 4, 7B minus 8. And from the very beginning, there's our GCF of 5B.